Ariel here to shake the matrix, expand our minds, and make us all think. And we are live. There we go. A couple more invites, and we'll get going here, you guys. So, how's everybody doing this grand morning? If you are watching this early in the morning, then hey, grand risings. If you're watching this in the afternoon, good afternoon. If you're watching this in the evening, good evening. Doesn't matter the time you watch this, it doesn't matter because it's still going to do what it needs to do. And today, we got a lot to talk about. We want to do. And today, we got a lot to talk about. We want to discuss the I am, the program's reality. And we want to discuss how we've forgotten the truth of our existence. There's something we forgot that's really important. And every time I say that, the mind reacts the same. It says, I did something. I forgot something. Did I miss an appointment? Did I lose track of time? Because the mind only knows how to forget objects. But what we forgot was not a thing. What we forgot was who we are. And that kind of forgetting doesn't register as memory loss. It registers as identity. And we forgot those things. And when someone asks you, who are you? Let me ask you this slowly. Who are you? Notice what happens. Most people answer with a name, a role, a job, a relationship, a history. I'm Harry. I'm Victoria. I'm a carpenter. I'm a doctor. I'm a survivor. But none of those answers matter or point to being. They point to form. They describe what you do, where you stand, or what you remember, not what you are. Psychology is very clear here. The identity you carry is construct assembled from language, memory, reinforced, and repetition. You were not born thinking I am inadequate. I am successful. I am broken. I am special. You learned those conclusions by listening to parents, to cultures, to trauma, to comparison. And once the identity forms, it becomes a lens. You don't see reality as it is. You see reality as you believe you are. And this is not a metaphor. This is cognitive science. That every time you say I am, your nervous system listens. Your brain listens. Your perception listens. And your body listens. When you say I am tired, I am unlucky, I am not enough, I am always struggling, the world doesn't argue with these statements. And it organizes around them. Neuroscience calls this predictive processing, and the brain predicts reality first, then filters perception to match the prediction. Remember, matter is 99.99% empty space. See, you don't experience what's happening, you experience what fits the story of me. And ancient philosophy understood this deeply. Plato didn't, say reality was false. He said perception was filtered. The Stoics said it is not events that disturb us, but our judgments about them. And Eastern philosophy went, even further. Identity is not the root of suffering. But agnostics' teaching said it is the clearest and the most dangerous The Gnostic script was the divine name is not an object. It is not a ruler. It is I am. Not I am this, I am that. Just I am. Pure being. Unconditional awareness. Existence aware of itself. And Moses, asks, who shall I say sent me? And the answer was not his name. It is, I am that I am. This was never meant to be worshipped externally. It was meant to be recognized internally. And what we forgot that before every label, before every story, before every wound, there was simply I am. No history, no heresy, no comparison, just consciousness, present, aware, whole. And then identity arrived. And let's not, spiritualize this too much. What we call the soul, the self, the divine spark, it's not gone. It's covered. Covered in conditioning, covered in trauma, covered in belief, covered in performance, like a diamond dragged through dirt and forgotten. And the dirt doesn't change the diamond, but it does make it forget its shine. Physics tells us this even. At the deepest level of reality, there is no solid object, only energy. Fields, relationships, the observer and the observed are not separate. Psychology tells us this. The self is a process, not an entity. Spirituality tells us this. You are not the universe. You are the universe expressing here. These are not separate truths. These are the same truths spoken through different mouths. Here's the line that collapses the illusion. You are not part of creation. You are creation in motion. You are not a character inside the story. You are the storyteller process itself. And this is where it gets uncomfortable because it means something radical. We are pretending we are not this. We are pretending we are small, pretending we are powerless, pretending we are separate. And we are doing it with tremendous skill. The ego didn't become strong by accident. It became strong because we stopped identifying as source. And when the ocean is forgotten, the wave panics and tries to manage itself. And when someone begins to remember this, the mind scrambles, because if you are not your name, not your role, not your story, hey Nathan, thank you, then who are you? And the mind hates that question because the answer isn't thinkable. It's experiential. You don't arrive at it, you relax into it. And this is crucial. You do not become divine. You stop pretending you aren't. You don't add anything. You remove misidentification. And this is why effort doesn't, awaken your presence does. So when you say I am, pause for a moment. Don't rush it. Don't rush to fill it. Let it remain open. Because before the name, before the story, before the struggle, there is I am. Unbroken, unseparated, unlost. And it has been here the entire time, quietly pretending, perfectly patient, waiting to be remembered. living from my am embodiment, integration, and walking back into the world. And from that quiet, from that space where words fall away, life continues. This is important because awakening does not remove you from the world. It returns you to differently. And in the mistake many people make is this pointing is thinking, now that I remember who I am, everything should be, feel peaceful. But remembrance is not sedation. It is clarity. And clarity cannot feel, destabilizing. It can feel destabilizing at first. And when you remember I am, your bills do not disappear. Your responsibilities do not vanish, and your body does not become immune to pain. What changes is too much wisdom, thanks. What changes is where you are living from. Before, life felt like something happening to you. Now life feels like something's happening through you. The same world, different orientation. Psychology tells us something essential here. Insight moves faster than integration, and you can realize a truth in a moment. But the nervous system takes time to reorganize around it. And that's why awakening can feel, messy. Old patterns don't, disappear instantly. They loosen. Fear still arises, but it's seen. Ego still speaks, but it's not believed. And healing is not, the erasure. It is the repatterning. And I am does not erase the human. This matters. I am does not dissolve your humanity. It grounds it. And you still feel grief. You still feel anger. You still feel desire. But those experiences no longer define you. They pass through awareness. And they don't claim ownership of it. This is the difference between I am angry and anger, is present. One collapses you into a state. The other lets the state move. Living from I am is not meditation techniques. It is a listening posture. And you begin to notice when the body tightens, when the mind rushes, and when something feels forced. And instead of overriding the signal, you pause. And this is where real alignment happens through attunement. Remember the ocean images. The ocean does not stop producing waves when it is calm. It moves intelligently. When it lives from I am, you don't freeze. You respond without panic. You act without forcing. You allow redirection without collapse. Damn, Granny speaking facts does. This is why your story about why your story about your life and everything isn't what makes you. The other day I discovered and found out that my bus is I gotta get a new one. And the moment wasn't mystical, it was coherent. Because what happened to me was my body spoke to me and said, turn around before you can. And the body knew and the system spoke. And instead of ego overriding presence, listen. And that embodiment allowed me to return to a place where I could discover what was going on with the rig. And at least be able to get to A to B until I can get something not too far A to B, but little short distances. See, the ego doesn't vanish when truth is recognized. It relaxes and it knows what to do. Ego only becomes destructive when it believes it is in charge. And when awareness is restored, ego becomes a useful tool again. It organizes, it navigates, it protects, but it no longer rules. This is why humility follows true remembrance, not because you feel small, but because you no longer need to pretend you are large. Ancient philosophy called this right action, not morally correct, aligned. Action that flows from clarity instead of fear. You don't ask. What should I do to be worthy? You ask, what is life asking me now? Those are very different questions. Here's where the rat race quietly dissolves. You stop chasing becoming, not because you stop growing, but because growth is no longer driven by lack. You still build, you still create, you still contribute, but you're no longer trying to prove existence. You are expressing it. I don't do politics, dude. The Gnostic language, this is called a gnosis, not belief. Knowing through being. Salvation was never rescue. It was, recollection. And the moment awareness remembers itself inside form, the illusion collapses. Not dramatically, naturally. Like waking from a dream. Here's a paradox. You don't leave the world behind. You stop being captured by it. You still participate, but you're not consumed. You see systems for what they are. Stories, structures, agreements. Useful but not ultimate. You are no longer lost inside them. So you remember the diamond. The diamond never needed to become something else. It only needed to be uncovered. And when the layers fall away, nothing new appears. Only what was always there. So when you move now, you move as the ocean. When fear rises, notice it. Don't obey it. When the ego shouts, thank it and listen deeper. When life redirects you, trust that you are not being denied, you are being guided. Because you were never outside the flow. You were never separate. You were never lost. You were conscious, pretending to be extraordinary skill that you were not. And now you're beginning to remember. Remember the truth. I don't do labels, dude. I am that I am. I don't receive labels. I don't take them. I don't accept them. They don't come anywhere near my tent. Another thing about me, for those of you who don't know me, I literally am not designed like 99.99% of humanity. I literally am a reflector by genetic design. I generate a mirror image. What you see in me is you. So, I usually laugh at anything tossed out because I go, well, there they are. Anyways, just so you're aware, I generally don't give a time of day to anything like that. I'm one of the people that sees the truth of my being, and words are absolutely nothing to me. Absolutely nothing. So make sure you do one thing towards your dreams every single day. It brings you one step closer. Make sure you recognize you're valuable and you matter. You're all unique puzzle pieces, a part of the ultimate puzzle of the cosmos. Peace and love, and hang in there. We'll see you next time.